Hey y'all, so today's video is going to be me showing you what covering a wig block looks like, why I'm doing it. As you can hear, I am raw editing Mavs in the bath right now, and I actually took this video while I was pregnant with Maverick. I think I was about 4 months honestly, I can't even remember. I'm gonna have to go back and reference, but I'm just using a freezer bag, I believe, and I'm taping the top. If you wear wigs, hopefully this video will be informational to you. If you even own a wig block, it should be able to help you out a lot. But one of the reasons that you may want to cover your wig block is if you're going to get your wig block wet. So some people wash wigs off of blocks. Other people wash their wigs on wig blocks, especially if you're working at more of a higher level, like film, TV, theater, or custom wig building for clients suffering medical conditions that may interfere with their actual hair growth or hair loss. So when you cover the block, it just protects that cork that's on the inside of the actual wig block. And this might not be completely necessary to you. It's just a tidbit that I wanted to throw in. But, well, the wig block, if it was to get wet on the inside, the cork can become really hard, and that can make it pretty impossible to pin into if you are doing wig work and you use T-pins or sewing pins for wig building from complete scratch. So another reason you don't want it to get wet is because mold can form on your wig block. It's really smart. Mav's talking too. It'd be really smart to make sure your blocks are completely dry when you store them, and making sure that you're not storing them in a place that is humid, because humidity can cause that molding, even if you actually aren't using products on the wig block itself, or if you're not washing anything on the wig block. So that's one of the reasons that I tape it, aside from padding. So in wig making, especially when you're making a wig for someone that is very particular, aside from just taking measurements, something that you may want to do is to fill up the wig block with a bubble. And what you do is you take a tracing of someone's head, not only of their head, but you would incorporate their hair prep, or however their hair would be underneath the wig on a regular basis, just so that you have a perfect fit every single time that you're putting that wig on. So it's a little extra, but it calls for extreme measures and desires in wig making, aside from just making a unit from someone, or for someone from a sewing machine, or just regular sewings. But going the extra mile, it's not necessary at all. It's just for those extras desires that you may have. And there's actually a reason that I'm taping these in this order. So again, that plastic bag is to make sure that the innermost layer, or the outermost layer of the wig block, you're making sure that that's protected. And then the clear tape is going over the bag to make sure that the bag is then protected, because you're going to go in with masking tape. And that masking tape, the green one that I use, you can't tape it over the bag. It just doesn't stick the same. So you have to do these steps pretty much this way to make sure everything flows right. After a few times, it becomes like second nature. But I'm using this green tape because when I'm wig making, if I'm using like lace, for instance, lace is really, really similar to the color of most wig blocks. And that makes it really hard to see when you're working on lace. A lot of wig builders just use regular masking tape, so something yellow. I've seen a few people use blue, but I really like the green, because not every wig is going to be green or have like a green hue to it. So I feel like it's just smarter for me to choose this over like a yellow or something basic. So I'm basically covering this up now. Like I said, this way I can actually see when I'm wig making, and I'm not worrying about poking through the lace, and it just makes it a little easier for ventilating. Specifically, if you're just wig making, like sewing machine, like, regular styling on wig blocks, you do not have to do all this at all. But if you feel like you need it for wig making with lace materials, or if you're doing any type of shampooing on these mannequins. What'd you say? Sugar. So that is that layer. This tape is actually not the tape I like to use. Typically, I buy it from Sugar. Typically, I buy my tape from Uline. It's something about the stickiness of it, and I haven't really found another brand that compares. Some of the Scott ones are really good, but I have that double-sided tape dispenser that I'll leave a link to in the description of this video. Sorry, I'm panting because I'm actually holding my daughter and walking around and speaking, so I'm a little winded, but even the placement of the tape is super important. So you want to start from the bottom and work your way up in the sections in ways that I did, because say if you go backwards in your wig making and you're using a ventilating needle, the tape itself can actually get caught in the direction that you're ventilating in. So even placing the tape is super, super important. I can make more videos about that in depth if needed or desired. Or if you have any more questions that you feel like I just didn't explain well enough as far as the reasoning of what I used and why I used it, I can definitely let you know. So I had to kind of do this crisscross method to ensure that that first layer would stick, the layer that's going from ear to ear, like over the top. So another reason I like to tape, well, for one, that's how I was trained as a wig technician. That's just what we were taught to do. But if you're taking measurements on someone and you're going to be transferring those measurements onto a wig block with the wig bubble included, probably sounds like I'm speaking in a completely different language, and I am, because I'm talking in wig talk and not your everyday wig talk. I mean, it's a completely different level of wig stuff, because in this level of like wig making, they don't even call frontals, they call them fronts. Is different. Some people don't bleach knots, because when you're ventilating, the goal is to make sure that you're getting the most natural look possible. So you're actually using less hair than you would see in a typical wig, because wig knots end up becoming bleached so that it kind of gives that scalp-like appearance. But for one, wig makers use a different grade of lace, I would say, a little more transparent actual film and TV lace. It can be harder to ventilate on because it's a lot more transparent. So the better the lace, the thinner it's going to be. It's going to have like a silk like material. I'm wondering like a clothing material that I could reference that would make it make sense. But it's like once it tears, it keeps on tearing and it keeps on tearing and it keeps on tearing. In most wigs, you know, you don't have that issue because the lace isn't at that grade and it's a lot thicker. So I don't know if y'all seen the trend of this woman that is actually taking a nail file and she files down the front of her lace so it will be a little thinner, and that makes the application a lot easier. So I'd love to, you know, come on here and act like I'm just wig making and this is all I do, but I have a daughter and sometimes I have to tend to her, sometimes I have to multitask, and that was one of these nights. She just got out of the bath, so I was pretty much getting her ready to go to sleep while making this video, so that's what's going on here. Sometimes it can be really hard to wig make with her while she's awake, so I have to wait until she's asleep or super, super, super occupied, because she likes wigs too, and she knows when I'm working. Yeah, I'm finding my workaround around that, but I think it's really just going to be time and her getting familiar with what work looks like for mama and what wigs look like for her, because she thinks any wig that I have is supposed to be for her. And I love that she loves them and she's into them, but I'd be like, girl, you can't have this one. So that's pretty much the summary of my work here. And what I'm doing in this video, it probably doesn't seem super self-explanatory, but it's actually really easy. And this is honestly the easiest part. Padding a wig block is what I would say is probably the most tedious thing behind ventilating, because you want to make sure that you're being as precise as possible. If you're getting a wig or a tracing or a bubble done for someone and you're taking the time to do that, then you want to go the extra mile and make sure that your padding is right. So I was taught that when we pad a wig block, we use like tissue paper and tape. I don't know if that's legal to say, and I know certain things my instructors did not like us to like say out in the open, but I know other people use cork. I've seen some people use cotton. I'm sorry, I think cotton would be easy. I even bought some when I was getting my wig materials and stuff, but it's just something about touching cotton as a Black woman. I just don't think I can stuff my wig mannequins with coffin lord. I don't think I can stuff my tracings with cotton, so I'm gonna stick to what I've been using, which is tissue paper, like gift paper. It's kind of time consuming, but I found ways to really cut my time down. In the industry, I think people use different techniques from what we were actually taught in school at the university, which is, a cool thing. But I like that we were taught how we were taught because it made us be so precise about doing it. So then when it came time to like actually going to work, it was just easier. And that's pretty much how the entire program was. If you ask me, like, some of the things we did were really, really extra, but then when I went to work, it was like, oh, okay, this isn't a third of what I thought it was going to be. So that's that. That's the end of my taping here. I don't want to take too much time. I think I finished this video on a completely different day because I'm wearing a different shirt. I was pregnant as hell, probably tired, irritable, as you can see. Wanted to do it, didn't want to do it because at this time I didn't have any clients. It's not like I was doing this for anybody. I think I was just going through and actually taping all of my blocks. So all of my blocks currently have this green layer taping on it. And then I'll just remove it if I end up putting too many holes in it, because the wig making that I do, typically I use like, I'd say 30 like pins. And after a few wigs, I feel like that's going to add up. And if I'm going to have holes in my tape in my bags, it's just going to defeat the purpose. So I'll be retaping soon, and maybe y'all will get an updated video. But this is me just placing a wig on so you can see the effect of what it would look like. And I'm actually going to be working on this wig soon. It's a ventilated front. It's a headband wig that I got from Amazon, but I'm going to revamp it. I didn't even know how to use the Velcro on the headband, but hopefully y'all found this video helpful or entertaining or educational, whatever you may call it. I'll try to do more, but this is actually something I pulled out of my little bag of tricks because I didn't even know I had this video on my old phone, but I'm so glad I found it. And I found me working with my baby still in utero. Oh my God. So now y'all can see more updated videos with us here on planet Earth actually working together in our beautiful chaos. And we'll catch y'all on the next one.